Jumping out of section was mad.
Do you know what it is? My uncle gave me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 15, 14.
Oh, there you go.
And I feel like that brainwashed me.
You're listening with Teo.
Dami.
Rotimi.
And you're listening to the DAMIHOW podcast. Hi, Rotimi.
Hey.
How you feeling?
I'm alright. I'm feeling good. I'm a bit tired because I obviously came from climbing. But yeah, I'm all good.
Talking about climbing, give us a brief overview. Who are you? What do you do?
Okay. So obviously my name is Rotimi. I'm a founder of a climbing community. I founded it in 2019 just because a friend took me down to a climbing wall. Then a friend asked me, because he saw me post it on social media, like, can I come climb with you next time? Mm-hmm. Afterwards, we formed like a WhatsApp group, Instagram page, and then we just sort of grew organically. Yeah.
Cool. I was gonna say, how did you, if you go back a little bit and just tell us how did you actually even just get into climbing? What made you want to do climbing? Was you did you see someone and then was like, oh, that looks cool? Or was it just?
So I would say my fitness journey has been I grew up playing tennis from the age of 8. My sister and I. Then from tennis, I played a bit of basketball. Yeah. Basketball, calisthenics in Brixton. And then I was heavily into bodyweight movement before I found even climbing. So I was learning how to do a handstand and all that jazz. Then my colleague literally taught me at work, say, hey, do you want to go climbing? I was like, what the heck is climbing? Went, and I thought it was so sick. I was like, this is bodyweight. Being strong, upper body, but I was like, I can't just use my upper body, I've got to use my legs.
Your legs, and you got to think about your movement and stuff like
exactly.
that.
You got to think about movement as well. And it's bare, not just physical, it's mental. And I forgot what was the question?
Just really how you.
So that's basically how I got into it. A colleague literally took me down one day, and I was just addicted straight away.
So you've been quite physical for a long time anyway. Prior to that. So it was tennis and basketball. Yeah, tennis and basketball. What, did you play at any good levels, or was it just kind of school based and stuff like that? Tennis
is one of those sports if you have money, you can be really good at it. And definitely. Because my dad actually played tennis and squash growing up, but he never really was interested in pushing me into it. And if my mum was financially well off, I'd definitely be a tennis player for sure, 100%. I didn't really play a county level or national level, but I played a grassroots level.
And then same thing with basketball now?
Basketball actually National League. So I played for a team called Westminster Warriors.
Cool.
In Northwest London.
What made you stop?
Life, Yeah, I remember secondary school, it almost felt like basketball felt like my personality. I used to carry basketball around with me in secondary school. And then in college, I played, but I went to a mixed college where they didn't have a basketball team.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I dropped out of college, and then I just kind of stopped playing sports kind of.
What college did you go to?
It was Greycoats Hospital in Victoria, Pimlico.
Why'd you drop out
of college?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I just didn't know what to really I always knew I was entrepreneurial in one sense. And then I always felt I wanted to drop out of secondary school, which I'm glad I didn't drop out. Got my GCSEs.
Dropping out of secondary.
I know, it's mad.
I think dropping out of secondary was mad.
Do you know what it is? My uncle gave me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 15, 14.
Oh, there you go.
And I feel like that brainwashed me. I was like, I could do this.
That's literally everyone.
Oh my God. So I remember being 15 in class and speaking to my friend in science. I'm dropping out. I was like, she's like, don't do that. I was like, okay, maybe I should do this. And then I did my GCSEs. And then when I went to college, I was there for 2 months. I was like, no, actually, I want to learn a different way. I knew my brain. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have ADHD or something like that, or dyslexic. I haven't actually been tested, but I think I do in one sense. And I just knew that I learn a different way.
So you just operate a bit differently from others. Fair enough.
Sure.
Shout out to that friend of yours that made you stay and get into college at least, because boy, could have been a different story.
Honestly, man, trust me.
So with the so you got a climbing group now, right?
Yeah.
How did that come about? Literally from the genesis, from the beginning. Who was the first person on, and then up to your last person now?
So my friend work colleague took me to a climbing wall in Mile End. So that was my first climbing wall. Posted on social media, and my friend was I think it was my friend Toby, asked me, hey, next time you go, can I come with you? And then it was 2 hours. There's a girl called Fella and Jessica.
Cool.
And we formed our first WhatsApp group, and it was just called Rotimi's. I think it was called Rotimi's Rock Climbers at first. Everyone had contention with it. I was like, okay, cool. It's me who formed it, innit? We later changed the name to Clmbxr to what it is now. And then we went to Mile End. We was there. We frequented it every other week. So we initially started every 2 weeks. And then I think during lockdown when we came out, we was no, we'll do this more frequently. So we do it once. We do it now twice a week.
Fair enough.
That's sick.
And this was back in, so they started one, right?
2019. So I started climbing February 2019 and formed the group April the 19th, 2019.
So you're just quick with it.
No, that's what I was going to say. That's like,
just wasting no time, get straight into it. And then, so since then, so that's like 5 people back then. What numbers are we at right now?
Well, so now we now have a membership. So now, so what I've done now is like have like partnerships with different climbing walls. So they've now given us like a discount to climb at the different climbing walls, and now members sort of can join my sort of the community, and they get offered like discounts to different climbing walls as well. So we currently have like 50 members.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you like teach them, or do you just free climb just all the way through?
It's almost like a drop-in session. Yeah. Like everyone in the group is different like degrees of like experience. So I've only been climbing for like 3 years. There's people who's been climbing for 5 years, newbies. See, everyone kind of learns from one another. I don't kind of coach. I coach in one sense, but I kind of like let people figure it out. A lot of climbing is innate, so you can kind of figure out your own stuff.
So it's hard.
Climbing.
Yeah. Like, what do you need? Like, what kind of strength do you need?
You need. If you can climb a ladder, you can climb. And I say that because everyone assumes that it's purely upper body, and I think like when you look at any skill, like if I was to say swimming and say swimming's upper body, you'd be like, no, you have to use your body, you have to use your lower legs. Yeah. Majority, and same with climbing, you have to use your legs to be a really good climber and think. Yeah. Fair enough. It is hard, but everything you do, you do it for the first time, it's difficult.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely hard because obviously I started climbing as well, like probably around the same time, maybe like 2018. And I went because a friend went randomly with work people, and then she invited me to go. Yeah. And I just kept going ever since. Yeah. And like I've felt like in the beginning, because obviously I'm strong, I train, like I go gym, that kind of thing. Yep. I always found myself just climbing, just arms all the way to the top, and I'd make it, and I got the benefits of length, long legs, long arms. So that always worked for me. Then it became about progressing colours, and you had to grip stuff with like your fucking fingernails or something. It's dumb. With fingertips, and it gets ridiculous, and you start thinking less about your strength and how much you can pull, and more about just manipulating your body or manipulating the wall to get yourself up there with the least amount of energy wasted. So
it's about being efficient.
It's about being just effective and efficient all the way through, or you'll definitely struggle. 100%. But I think even when you struggle, it's fun, and there's not many things that you could say about like that have you feel like that, if you know what I mean. I think with climbing, even if you don't do well, you feel like you've done well enough.
That's the weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. So like even when you fall, you're like, right, that's actually kind of fun. I'm gonna do this again. It's like so addictive. Like I just remember just like I fell off the wall one time, just sat down, looked up, I was like, right, man's doing this, like I'm climbing walls. Like
have you been climbing before?
Yeah, I went once.
Do you
know what, I actually enjoyed it. I only did like one thing, but it was cool. But do you know what, I think if I had one closer to me, I'm lazy to travel, if I had one closer to me, I'd probably like do it more. And I think because I go to gym already and I'm like quite, I want to say consistent with it, it's a bit long to try to like, but I want to, because I've been saying, to be fair, that I want to like do some other form of physical activity, because gym is just like
the closest one that I know to you might be Keys.
It's quite long. It's quite long. It's quite long. But yeah, I do want to do some other form of physical activity, because gym is like,
it's kind of just like normal. It now, man. I mean, she's got 160. She then left it close to 200. She's good, man.
I'm an enemy of the gym.
I know, wow.
Just because I grew up playing sports, and I think that like so many of us like start the gym and fall off because there isn't a sense of like maybe goal setting or community around it. Like we go from like playing PE with our schoolmates to just going completely ISO at the gym, and I was like, nah, man, you need to do stuff together, man.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I feel like that's why sometimes I take breaks, because it's just like it gets a bit boring, and it kind of becomes just. Even though you are challenge yourself, it's kind of just, I guess, just part of your lifestyle now.
It becomes a bit mundane, innit? It's all about being consistent, which is good, but at the same time, it's consistent to what level? Because the progression is incremental, especially if you grow older and you get more efficient in your training. It's like there's not as many significant results that you can make in that short period of time, whereas with sports stuff is obviously always ever changing. The landscape is different, like the group dynamic, the individual dynamic is all like different things.
100%.
But even going into that whole gym conversation, like how would you say your body has kind of changed with the work that you do now in terms of how you lift, well not lift but climb?
I'd probably say mobility.
Okay.
Yeah, just mobility has improved drastically, because a lot of climbing is like keeping your hips close to the wall, get your right foot maybe next to your elbow or next to your shoulder, something like that. So like mobility has probably been the biggest form of like improvement fitness wise. I've always kind of been like in shape in one sense, So yeah, I would definitely say like mobility.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I think that's true. I feel like you kind of don't. You get that in gym, and that's if you put time aside to do that. And yeah, I feel like that's a good. I'm struggling in that. Because I'm lazy. I'll do my work and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll go stretch at home. I do work at home, kind of thing. Like I still do it when I warm up for my squats like deadlifts, but it's not as maybe not as intense as it should be.
100%.
But
so like, cool. 3 years ago, started climbing.
Yeah.
3 years later, how's your life changed? What's new? What's been introduced? What's come about as a result of you doing your climbing thing?
Honestly, like the way things work, the biggest thing you could do is to stay consistent.
Yeah.
My climbing community, forming my climbing community sort of made me accountable to the members and made me consistent in one sense. And through consistency, 2020, we first sort of got in contact with, actually, let me say this. 2020, Black Lives Matter happened.
Yeah.
Brands were scrambling to find like people within black people within spaces, in niche spaces. Climbing's obviously very niche.
Yeah.
So we actually had our first ad with like Adidas in 2020.
Cool.
And he came and shot us, and it was like, get ready back to sports, because they were trying to, obviously everyone's in lockdown, so they were trying to encourage people to like play sports after lockdown, which was amazing. I was like, right, working with Adidas, that's crazy. A few months later, North Face came knocking and sort of gave us like a little donation, and it was like, hey, we really like what you're doing. Here's like a small donation just to keep you going. And then since then, they've just been toasting us, like keeping us warm. And then 2021 November, we signed. They approached
with North Face.
Yeah, with North Face. They approached me and it was like, hey, can we sign you? Not just you, but also your community as well. So we're officially backed by North Face since.
What does that mean though? What do they do? What does it come with?
Yeah. So North Face have like two sections. So they have like athletes, which are like the top of the range, people who compete, and they have like an explorer team. So these are more like influencers within that space. So they have like DJs and like artists and people like myself and hikers and stuff.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man. So.
And then your part obviously as an explorer means what do you do for them and what do they do for you?
So they give me like a list of like deliverables that I need to do, like social media posting, events, activation, meet up with like some of their different explorer teams as well. And it's pretty cool. They seed us with like kit, so like merch and stuff like that. They give us money behind it as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's a pretty cool partnership.
Oh, that's cool.
But then, so how did you feel about that? Like back up to like the 2020 bit.
Yeah,
because obviously you say brands started reaching out again, trying to find a niche, trying to find black people in places and whatnot, as they always do, more or less. But how did you feel about that? Because obviously you had something that you were creating. Obviously you may have not known where you were trying to take it to.
Yeah.
But in your mind, I could assume you obviously want to make it big and take it quite far.
Yeah.
With that being said, how did you then feel or navigate brands or incoming people, knowing that certain people might just be here for a quick thing or to use you for their own benefit, to say they've ticked a box? Like, how did you kind of approach that situation?
I had like when I was 17, I dropped out of college. I worked for like a marketing agency called Live Magazine based in Brixton. It was the sickest thing I've ever did. It almost gave me like a sandbox to like try different things within marketing. So like from like a journalistic perspective, they also had like it was in magazines, so it allowed me to write articles and do YouTube and like figure out how to think like as a business, how do you market as well? So I kind of knew the fact that we're a black climbing community in London. We have this niche that we could sort of like market ourselves in a really particular way. So I was always sort of mindful of brands which sort of we aligned ourselves with. Because I was like, I knew that if we align ourselves with this brand, then another brand might not look at us and stuff like that. So I was always like, okay, if we start with Adidas, who else can we get? Or who else could we be? Or who else can I reach out to? So sometimes you just have those conversations. Sometimes brands reach out to you. And a lot of those brands came up to us. So like from working with Adidas, we did another campaign with Samsung and another campaign with Gymshark and stuff like that. And it was like, okay, this makes sense. And I think you just learn as you go as well. Like you learn about the conversations, you learn about how to read a contract. Does this make sense for us? Is this a short-term thing, or how do we take the short-term thing and make it long-term?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Is there someone else kind of just running it with you? Like say if, in terms of the membership and stuff, is it just like solely you and then you have your members, or do you have someone like alongside?
It's me, but I wouldn't be here without my community at all. Like there's so many people who chip in. We've got like, when you form a community, you have like so many people who do different skill sets. Like you have a producer, or somebody's really good at social media or this and that. So yeah, it's me, but definitely my community sort of step in, even though I don't ask them to.
So that community of yours is real, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
There must be.
Yeah.
No, I hear that. It sounds that way because obviously, like you said, it's more or less like everyone's doing jobs, even if their name's not on the, whatever. But it's like everyone's doing a part to make sure everything runs smoothly. Because it benefits them as well as it benefits you.
100%.
Fair enough.
100%.
Like that's good.
Yeah. Have you had an accent before?
Me or my community?
Any?
You and
me? No,
else,
I haven't had an accident.
Oh, is it?
No.
I've seen accidents before. Not personally, but like I saw one online, bad one. But But yeah. What? So then in your community, anything?
Community, we've had one person. I'm not gonna say one person, but he's had like a shoulder history of like dislocating his shoulder.
Yeah.
So he dislocated his shoulder. He's been the only person who's ever got like seriously injured climbing me in the last 3 years. Yeah.
That's good though. So no one's ever like, got there and like dropped and...
Oh, okay. I tell you, another person had like an ankle injury. I'm just remembering this week. Another person had like an ankle. Yeah, had an ankle injury and she's currently out. She's been out for the last like couple of months, just rehabbing. But it's part of the game, man. It's fine. Happens.
That's how it is, man. That's how I've gym. But to be fair, with gym, I haven't really had... There was one time I had this weird back thing that happened, but that's got sorted like in a couple of hours. Like I was squatting. Yeah. I did good as well. It was like a good day going home, and then all of a sudden, like my back, I just couldn't walk. Mad. Like I got on the bus, I couldn't sit down. Yeah. Like it was so uncomfortable. Got out the bus, and I need to do a 10-minute walk home. I literally could not walk. Jeez. I couldn't walk. I got a zip car. I couldn't even drive the car. That's how bad it was. It was so bad. And I'm just there like someone needs to come and carry me. Like I'm just so confused. I don't know what's going on because the whole squat session was fine. Like sometimes you could feel yourself and you're like, okay, I need to take it easy. But it was good. And then I got home, but I used the foam roller thing. The vibrating ones. Yeah, I used that and then it was fine. But that's as far as injury goes for me, which is good. Thank God. Hopefully, nothing else really.
Be safe.
Yeah. What about eating? Does that like have an effect on?
My diet is terrible.
So you don't have to. So like for me, for example, for gym, if I'm gonna lift heavy, I'm gonna have to make sure like I've eaten enough throughout the day. That's why I like doing my sessions in the evening. So I'm fueled. So does that have an effect on how you climb? Do you have to be fueled, or can you do it on an empty stomach?
I usually do it on an empty stomach, and then like halfway through, I'm like, I'm hungry. I gotta eat. Then I eat. Then I climb. Continue climbing.
Is there a reason for that, or you just do it?
Just my time, my schedule, man. Just my schedule. We start at like 10 a.m. and before that, I've got like a son, so I'm feeding him in the morning, and then I'm rushing, and I don't have time to eat for myself, and then I'm just like climbing straight away. So yeah.
So what's your like day setup from 7 to 7? Like how would that run for you?
7 to 7?
Yeah, like I mean, like obviously I don't. You work at different.
Yeah. I work. Yeah. So I'm a UI UX like designer. So I work for a consultancy. So I don't do climbing full time. We do like a couple sessions. Whether that's like in the morning, it'd be like sending my son to nursery, go to work, working. Sometimes I climb like midweek as well. And then like on Mondays we go climbing. Next day I might go climbing on Wednesday. Same setup, work, nursery, school.
Because in the spot that I go, I see people like set up all the time with laptops and that. But I always think to myself, it's like not that it's weird, but it's like how do you just and then just
go. It's good,
just go fly to the wall.
I just like
it. I like it. For the run back and start typing again. Just in time for
I
the
like
Zoom
moving.
meeting.
I just like moving, I hate sitting down for too long.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Have you done work like in a setup?
Yeah. So the place I go on Saturdays has like a workspace.
Oh, okay.
So they have not only a workspace, they always got a tattoo parlor, yoga studio as well. So you can work there, go, if you haven't got a meeting for another 2 hours, go climb, come back. Yeah. It's good. It's a good setup.
No, that's sick. That's sick. So I was obviously doing research. I saw your YouTube channel and this was video from like 10 years ago.
That's deep research.
You was going in the elevator, you was going to give this magazine to Jamal
Edwards
from SBTV. And what was that like? So like it looks like he was kind of into kind of content creation. I know you said he was working in marketing as well, but did you always think you kind of carry on that content creation kind of path?
So going back to when I was 17, so I dropped out of college at 17, then I started a YouTube channel called College Dropout, essentially. And then when I worked for the magazine, one of the first jobs he asked me to do was write an article on Jamal Edwards. And it was like literally his first ever cover piece that anyone had ever done on him. So I went to his house in Acton, me and his photographer person, and we literally just chopped it up, talked about SBTV, his journey, his rise, and then we got the physical copy. They sent me to I think it was Sony South Kensington, and I literally just gave him just recording myself, like giving him his first copy and just seeing his reaction, and all that is just authentic. Like what you see in the video is like him genuinely being excited about receiving his first copy. Yeah.
No, that's sick.
Did you lot like, keep in contact on that after that or anything like that?
Up and down. Up and down throughout the years. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you ever mention any interest in climbing or anything like
Well,
that?
no, I wasn't interested in climbing. Like, what was that? Like almost 11 years
true,
ago.
That would have been way
I was
back. But I mean, up until maybe recently.
Nah,
Because obviously you've been blowing up as well.
yeah,
So you must have been
not
back in
even.
someone's
Not
review.
even. I think what happens. I don't know if celebrities, but sometimes you get to the stage. I try to hold out, and you're like, nah, he's not even trying to listen. He's not even trying to look at my DMs anymore, or anything like that. So
Fair enough.
that happens.
No, I heard that.
So what's it like creating content? Because obviously you got to do some content for North Face and stuff like that. What's it like? You know, do you enjoy creating content? You know, how do you feel like it? Obviously, it benefits like your community and you're like raising awareness and stuff. But what's it like?
It's hard, man.
Yeah,
It's hard when you do, especially doing it by yourself. So one thing, I have a community, right? But in my mind, my community members are there to climb. They're not there to help me film content. So I never want to burden them with like, hey, take this video. Take this camera, record me in it. So like, I always think like, I need to do this myself. So even when we initially started, we had like a YouTube channel where I was going around filming us climbing. But like, I was like, I also want to climb.
Yeah.
And I also, it's difficult, bro. I honestly, it's so difficult.
It's not even like a place you could put a tripod in there.
Yeah,
so
you know, because there's so many people walking around. You
Yeah.
need to actually handheld and be like POV with it. So yeah.
So how would you do it now? Would you think you would maybe have someone dedicated?
Get like
at
an
a certain
intern
time
to come and film my content for us.
But in that content, would it be like just you climbing throughout the day, or would you try and make it tutorial based?
No, almost like storytelling with it.
Yeah.
That's what we initially like. Everything content. I always feel content has to have a story or tell something or do something. So when we started, we were trying to tell a story about us, community, black people climbing, which you don't usually see. So
that's another question actually. So what's the word that we're supposed to use?
Inclusion?
Yeah, I guess so. But I was thinking of something else. Let's say what's the percentage, what's the ratio like
of black people in my
black to white in your group at the moment?
There's like one white lady in our group, a lady called Rachel. Shout out to her. And she's always based in Sheffield, but she just wants to support us and stuff like that.
Oh, that's nice.
But majority of people are, I'll probably say 90% of people, 99% of people are black.
So when I first went to my spot in Bermondsey, obviously I went with another black girl.
Okay.
And it was like evening time, so after work, full, and it's like if there was 100 people, let's say 98 of them were white, and it was just me and her.
Yeah.
And I went in there and like for the first time I understood what like other people might feel like when they go into the gym.
Yeah.
And they're like nervous of using equipment and stuff like that, because I thought to myself, this is mad. These are watching me and they're looking at me thinking, this guy's just using his long arms to get up to the top of it. So that's how I felt.
Yeah.
But then obviously naturally you go through your day, you realise it's never that deep. No one's paying attention. It's whatever. Yeah. But I think the question I wanted to ask you was like, have you ever felt uncomfortable in that environment? And have you ever heard any stories of anyone else having been uncomfortable or telling you about something that basically shouldn't be happening?
Ooh. Nothing scandalous.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. But I feel like naturally, for me personally, so I talk about myself. Me personally, I can go into any environment and not feel uncomfortable.
Fair.
Just because I've always had like a mindset of like, I can actually go into anywhere. I'm not scared, sort of thing. So even when I went climbing for the first time, I didn't even notice I was the only black person there, because I was like, I'm just there to have fun. That's always been my mindset. But I generally know that people feel like you need to see someone doing something for you to feel like you can do it yourself. And I think that's super important. That's probably one of the reasons why we have like a climbing community, so people can see, hey, there's black people actually doing this sport. But I haven't heard like a crazy story of someone saying, hey, maybe uncomfortable because you're in like an unknown environment and you don't know how to use it. Similar to the gym. If you go to the gym first time, what the heck do I do? Do I use this weight or do I use this machine and stuff like that? But it isn't sort of like, one of the things I say about the climbing community particularly is that they're super friendly. Yeah. I remember going for the first time and I was stuck on a problem which you're naturally going to be stuck at. And something was just helping me. They were like, hey, your left foot here, right hand here, da-da-da-da. And we were just chatting while we were climbing, we're solving it together, which is something you don't usually get when you go to the gym. It's like,
I noticed that too. No, I noticed that too. Like I've gone a lot of times and I've obviously, like like messed up a wall or not
Yeah.
know how I was going to approach it. I've asked for help. I've asked for people to demo.
Yeah.
Obviously, bearing in mind like some of these walls are challenging, so people are taking a long bit of rest before they
100%.
jump back on the wall. But people have been kind enough to like show something or demo, or even just talk it out as I go through. So like I've even brought like so many friends there.
Really?
So like
Sick.
You
Look at the evangelist.
haven't brought me there. That's what you haven't brought me there.
I'm busy, man. You're too
Like,
busy
such a
for me.
snake.
Too busy for me, man. But like, no, I've had fun. I can't lie. I've had fun.
I love
and it's
that.
it's crazy because it's not that I never knew it was a thing, but I basically never knew it was
I
a
didn't
thing.
know it was a thing.
And it's like for it to be obviously the one I went was in Birmingham. And my house is 10 minutes from it.
So local,
And there's
so
even
good,
even a pure gym opposite which I used to go. And it's like for me to be in a space, it's like standing here and not knowing there's a something else right here, right in front of you to actually enjoying it. So that was pretty cool. So I'll forever be happy that I started climbing.
It's such a wonderful sport. Like like the problem solving aspect of climbing is something I really appreciate as well, because like a lot of the times we don't get the chance to sort of use our minds and use our bodies physically to solve a problem. And you just going, okay, how do I move? Sometimes it's so incremental. Like maybe it's a left foot right here and a right hand right here, which makes all the difference. And you're just solving that problem with your body. And then when you get to the top, this sense of like, I don't know, excitement or joy, you're like, right, man did this. It's nuts.
So do you see
Elite
like
sport.
climbing as like something, as kind of part of your fitness, or is it more just something you enjoy, or is it a bit of both? Like,
It's definitely still a part of my fitness. Like I play tennis, I go swimming, I still go to the gym to do legs and stuff like that. So it's definitely part of it. It's like,
you still do swimming as well? I need to swim.
I swim now as well, to be fair.
I need to go swimming.
Yeah, I swim
That's
like
what-
3 times a week. On
Is
the
it?
on the weekend only though.
yeah.
Because it's free with the local gym spot.
See, I don't have that though.
You must see. You probably
I
got.
think I was looking, but you know what? I was looking for swimming lessons, like
Oh yeah,
to
that's
Okay.
different. I did
to
lessons
learn
too.
how to swim.
So I can swim.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Previously, innit?
Yeah.
Just like.
Or
bent.
arms, no legs.
Yeah, or and then I did 8 lessons, of actually learning how to use my actual limbs, and now I'm off.
Different, innit?
Different.
Yeah.
How much do you pay for lessons?
I was free again
Really?
Really?
with the same Barrett with my local.
That's
See, I couldn't
amazing.
find
Come on, man!
That's
Gotta-
amazing.
Got to tap into this local.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I was looking. Maybe I just wasn't looking properly.
Yeah, trust
but
me, you're not looking
what I saw
properly,
was
it's there.
like what £80 a lesson. I'm just like,
Oh, that is
Wow,
it's
that's
a lot in it. I was
expensive.
considering it, but
A lesson?
I was just like,
That
it's
is
a lot.
That's
Probably
a lot.
like an hour
That's
lesson.
more than what I charge for PT. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You should charge more, bro.
I should. I'm gonna have my friends tomorrow.
Yeah, nah. See, I need to do more, man. I was thinking about boxing.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I do that too. I do everything. Though, I can't lie. I
I need
literally
to
do
do that,
everything.
but
But
then
you
I
know what
just
it
feel
is?
like-
I started doing all this stuff when because I stopped training properly.
Okay.
Because I had a small back injury myself.
Jeez.
Nothing. Well, to be fair, I can't say it's not major. It's still undiagnosed. I don't know what my issue is.
Wow.
But it stopped me from doing a lot of stuff. I couldn't train, and I spent 9 months not training.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is dead. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. So I started doing literally everything else. Started playing tennis again, boxing, swimming,
Wow.
climbing, and then now I'm back in the gym properly.
Wow.
So I'm
Sick.
good. But now I'm just trying to keep everything up.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
definitely.
saying. Expensive, and then just trying to find the time
Yeah.
to just do everything. I feel like I just don't even have enough time right now with like work, business,
Now
Yeah.
podcast.
gym, now this.
Yeah,
So it's just
yeah.
like trying to find the time. But I really do want to do something else because gym is just like, yeah, it's like gym. But I want to do something where I'm moving my body a bit more like
Yeah.
as a whole.
Just substitute one
So-
gym day for something else
Yeah.
every
I'm only
week.
doing 3 gym days.
And
now.
even
Even
if
if
it's
it's
like
like pole
even that is
dancing,
just-
anything.
Everyone does
I
pole
was gonna-
dancing
yeah,
now.
I did want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do, to be honest.
Do it, man. Just do it, man.
So one
Yeah, I
thing
was
I've tried to
thinking-
encourage so we have this thing called skill swap. So what we did with another community, they were a swimming community. So we taught them how to climb, and they taught us how to swim.
That's cool.
And I was like, this is stuff because I'm a sports person. I grew up
Yeah.
playing different sports, not just climbing. So our next one's going to be BJJ.
But that would be the best thing for you to make content out of.
Yeah, I just need.
That would literally
I
be the
just did a
best.
video
Like,
of them.
you can make a whole series
know.
about that stuff.
We was even thinking because I spoke to Speedo because I had relationships with one of the head marketing manager because he used to be head of like Burkhouse, and he was like, "Oh, next time you do it, like talk to us." And he sent us some like free stuff to give to our community. I was like, "Okay, we can actually get sponsorship. We could get money next time we do this, and then
You can pay for the video.
and we could pay for the video, and we can actually get money from doing it by a big sponsor." I was like, "This is actually something we should do." Yeah.
Sick. See, I need to find friends that are going to be down to do all these things.
I'm down, man.
No, you're a beg because you don't invite me to stuff. Like, I see this guy. We talking about we spoke about him like what years ago, and I see this guy on his Instagram. He's posting it, and he hasn't invited me. Like,
don't worry, next time I'll load you up.
Crazy.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, you speak about all these big plans, more or less.
Yeah.
All these just name dropping the speedo and all these people. Yeah. So, what's the plan for you? What's the next step towards the end of the year and even into next year? Like, where do you see things going? And what one like thing do you have in the pipeline that's loaded up right now?
Skill swapping. So just swapping skills with different like communities or like different sports. Is something I'm definitely going to continue next year. I was talking briefly to Dami before we started the podcast about like we're planning like a TV show at the moment. Okay. We want to go climb Table Mountain in South Africa. So I'm speaking to like a few production companies about like how we can tell our story from being like a British climbing community in London and sort of taking the sport of climbing into Africa. That's so cool. Not just South Africa, but I'm Nigerian. Like Nigeria would be great. A couple of my community members are from like the Caribbean as well, so it'd be great to sort of explore that as well. And then to do more climbing stuff outdoors. Like we went to France in May to climb, and I'd love to take more of my community members outside.
That's cool.
So how big do you think you want to get the community to be? Do you want it to still kind of keep it kind of small, or do you want it to
keep it small, man? I like knowing everyone's names. You know,
I feel you.
And growth sometimes comes as like you grow big, and sometimes you lose the essence of who you guys are, and I don't want to lose that. But at the same time, I do want us to grow and expand as well. So, like, I'm not trying to shut anyone off from coming and joining us.
No, I feel you.
With that being said, how do people join the community?
So you can come down to one of our sessions. So there's two ways. You can become a member, go through our website. There's like a membership you can pay, enter like a Telegram group. You can come down to one of our sessions, and then you pay like the normal rate if you're not a member. Depending what the climbing wall is. If you go Vauxhall on Monday, and on Saturday we go to a place called Yonder, which is next to Blackwall Station.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fair.
Cool. That's been good. Nice. I love this. This is nice. It makes me want to actually try it again, but we'll see what that happens. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been great having you. You know, I feel like it's always good to kind of talk about other types of form of fitness or sports. I guess within the Black community, especially, you know. Especially for me, I feel like all I've known is kind of just gym kind of thing. It's good to open yourself to like other things because, you know, not everyone wants to go to the gym, not everyone has to go to the gym as long as you said like moving your body and stuff. So yeah, it's great. It's good.
Thank you for having me, guys.
That's good, man. It's good. It's been a good conversation. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming through, man.
Thank you.